There seems to be an awful lot of sad stories in the news today, and there are thousands missing. Does anybody care? We built a channel where we talk about those faces. Talking News with Gabby. Cassie Barron's has still not been found, and it's been 2 years since her case first hit the spotlight. Breaking. Chattanooga and Middle Valley both behind bars. Sarah Galloway was found. She wasn't found alive. What happened to Sarah Galloway?
It's too heartbreaking to share.
Children are still missing. Children like Dorsey. You're in shame. You just got away with it. Welcome to Talking News. Hello everyone. My name is Debbie. We use big stories to push little faces.
Hello everyone, welcome to Talking News. So right now, I want you guys to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and hit the notification bell if you want notifications. So guys, let's get into it immediately. So Bryan Laundrie, the boyfriend fiance of the now deceased Gabby Petito. People who are watching this case are looking for signs that this was a troubled relationship before it ever got to this point. News sources like the New York Times have pictures of what they say could be Bryan Laundrie's room. And what's inside this room could be questionable and also answers to what happened to Gabby. Did I say New York Times? I meant New York Post. Forgive me on that one. So let's take a look at this room, and then we're going to start talking about his family a little bit, including his sister Cassandra. So quickly, this is not absolutely positive this is his room, but they suspect it is. So in this picture, something that I noticed immediately was how violent it was, which I'm sure everybody did. But also, it took me back to a quote that he had actually said on Instagram, I think it was. Don't quote me on that one. But he did mention the fact that men are primates. So that was an interesting statement if you compare it to this photo that could be a piece that belongs to Bryan, if I can talk today, guys. So I mean, look at this. I mean, this obviously is a man that is using some sort of hunting skills, war skills. And when they do this, each picture shows a tool, whether it be a hatchet, spear, stick. They're using a tool in order to attack or hunt. One thing I do notice is that the person that is being attacked, they're down and they continue to attack them, even in groups, as you can see to the top hand right of this portrait. The person is defenseless at this point, and it just looks to me the attack continues. So this is the most beautiful painting. So who would want something like this? In my personal opinion, I think it would be somebody that is into violence. And I like to include you guys when we're looking at stuff like this, so make sure you comment below what you think this portrait represents for Bryan. So it definitely, you see a red flag when you see that, especially now that you know the outcome of his girlfriend. So below there, this article points out the fact that he has these books called The Watchmen in his bookcase. Now, I'm not certain what that means. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not big into the comics and that sort of thing. So if you have an idea, share that in the comments below. So let's move on to something I do know about. And that is the very open weapons gun in his bedroom, wrapped in an American flag, it appears. Not certain, but you can see the red and white stripes on one. What we're hearing is Bryan is a concealed weapon carrier. Not certain if that's true or not. But to the right of that gun, you can see what they are labeling as a Darth Vader helmet. How that has anything to do with what's going on, I don't know. Maybe they're insinuating that, he just likes the darker sides of things, which you could pretty much, and I mean, come on, guys. That's what people are pushing these days. I mean, these days, the movies that are coming out, villains are made heroes. So, maybe so. So, one thing that I always took my interest is, what did he do for money? I know that Gabby seemed to be a very hard worker. She's intelligent, but naive. She has a very pure spirit. She seems to love nature and the small things, just the little things that matter to her. But for Bryan, well, he doesn't seem to have much going on at age 23. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm interested in knowing how he got his money. So, and was he responsible with his money? Because for some reason, one of the reasons he's got a warrant for his arrest is for after his girlfriend is gone. He takes her van, throws on extra stickers on the van for some reason, uses her debit card, downloads music from Spotify, and he drives all the way back to Florida from Wyoming. And there's no indication that he's upset. He's worried about anything, because according to witnesses or neighbors, their accounts of what they saw when he was there, they witnessed that Bryan was walking with his family. That was normal. And one weekend, he goes camping with his mother and father. To neighbors, that's also normal. He goes bike riding. So witness accounts say that they see him doing these things, but there's some people wondering if he ever stayed at his parents' house at all. Some of those being investigators. Well, it's hard to dispute that when you have neighbors saying that they were able to actually see him with their own eyes doing these things. So one of the eyewitnesses that witnessed the two fighting at Moonflower say that they were aggressively talking to one another, meaning they're fighting. That witness believes that they're fighting over a phone. It coincides with what the couple said earlier or later to the police, that Bryan was telling her to cool down, and Gabby said that he wouldn't let her in the van. According to the witness statement, that is exactly what happened. He also witnessed that it appeared that he didn't want the female in the van. So let's go back a little bit. So according to Bryan's sister, the couple did fight, but they always went their separate ways for a little while, cool off, and then would be fine afterwards. She doesn't mention anything about the two ever becoming violent, though. And so a lot of people want to know, where was this couple violent in the past? Was this something normal and just escalated into something, that ended up in a horrific end for one of them? So one point that stuck out to me, and I say this in every video, is the fact that the couple, when they were first reported arguing at that Moonflower, police find the couple, pull them over. Gabby mentions that they were heading to pick up water and to fill up the car. She asked the police officer for water. So were they in a financial bind? Because we know there's been a few times that Gabby called her father, or I think it's her father, don't quote me on this one either, but she called one of her parents asking to help with ordering food. So I started suspecting maybe it's a money issue, but then again, we hear that Bryan goes on a spending spree after she's gone and spends $1,000 or over. And they mention that that's coming off a debit card, which could be used as a credit card, but it's not a credit card, which is where you borrow money. A debit card means most likely she needed to have those funds in her account. So was there some kind of issue with money? That I always wondered that with this. And what kind of balls does it take if he did this, if he hurt Gabby, knowing that she's not coming back, and to take a road trip back home and spending huge amounts of money on the way home. So I'll be very interested in seeing what those receipts have, because I wonder, was he buying stuff to prepare for a long hiding trip? And so I feel a lot of this will be answered as more witnesses come forward. In fact, there's a second witness claiming to have picked up Bryan, and he was hitchhiking. According to the witness, she actually gave him a ride in Grand Teton National Park, which is also in Wyoming. So we know the first woman was Miranda Baker. She said, I think it was September 17th, that she and her boyfriend had given Bryan a ride. So it was around 5:40 p.m. that evening, if I remember right, on August, what was it? I'm sorry, guys, I'm losing my places. 29th. Then you had Norma Jean, another resident from Florida, said she also picked up Bryan on August 29th, dropped him off around 6:30 or 6:40, and that was around the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. She mentions that Bryan was kind of freaking out at one point when she called the area he was wanting to go to, which is Jackson Hole. She says that she picked him up around 6:15 to 6:20. So an interesting statement that I remember Bryan said to police is that he didn't have a phone, and that if Gabby went anywhere without him, then he would just be on his own. A good question is, why doesn't Bryan have his own phone? Now, there's a few people that say that they witnessed that he had a phone in his hand. Was it Gabby's? Truthfully, I haven't had time to take a closer look. Right now, Gabby's phone is still missing. So where is that phone? There's no telling, because obviously he's been thinking a while on what he wants to do. So did he toss it out in a dumpster on the way back to Florida? Did he take it on a camping trip with his parents, get rid of it there? Or did he leave it where it was? Did he keep it with him? We don't know, but that phone will have a lot of answers. Right now, there's a few theories going around of what people believe Bryan did. One of them being he got on a boat and headed to the Caribbean. Some people believe that he headed to Mexico. Some people think that he's in that reserve and he's just good at hiding. Then finally, there's a small few who believe that he might have took his own life. Which, if he's a psychopath like I suspect, they usually don't have any kind of emotions to trigger that. That's my opinion. So here's what I believe his attorney's trying to say. He's trying to say that Bryan is afraid to speak because they will automatically think that he did something to Gabby. Well, firstly, how does he know Gabby's not okay? Again, they have a history of not being separated this long, so does he just suddenly not care about her whereabouts? Her being missing means nothing to him? Now, there's something I would like to find out, and I don't know if some of you that are great researchers yourself know if this rumor is true, that Bryan didn't take his wallet or phone with him. If this is true, well, that creates a whole new way of looking at this case and, what kind of path he would take. Does he have a passport? And how hard would it be for him to get on a plane between September 14th of 2021 through present day? So yeah, we have a lot to think about. So a lot of people believe that the FBI is searching this reserve and they're doing it just wasting their time. Well, I can guarantee you that that's not the only place that they're looking. Hopefully, though, they are set up better at night, because that's when he's going to travel. One thing we do know is Bryan knows how to find places we would never think of finding. He has hiked all over the place. He knows about these trails. He knows how to get chargers and weird places. And in desperate need of a hygiene shower, he's going to find a way to do it. So I think it would be interesting, which path he takes when they do find him. Because there's going to be things that people probably didn't even know existed. There are so many. You got to know Florida, guys. So in Florida, a lot of these new subdivisions, they have trails behind their houses. There are biking trails everywhere. So if one wanted to get away with avoiding the public, it's simply easy in Florida, especially from Gainesville south. So those that like to go biking and walking on these trails, keep your eyes open. So I wanted to share one other thing. So we know the sister of Bryan Laundrie, the only one in Bryan's family really kind of reaching out to the public and sharing statements, seems to really care about Gabby. And she informs us that Gabby really cared about them, especially her children. We learned that Gabby was sending out postcards to Cassie. She goes by Cassie, guys. And her children. One of them said, "The rocks here are so cool. Uncle Bryan and I have seen many different rock types. I knew there were different kinds of rocks, but I didn't know that some are different formations. Did you?" So reading a lot of these postcards, you could tell that Gabby really liked to talk to these kids. She was really interested in, communicating and having that bond. And she liked to make people feel important, it seemed. When we found out that Gabby was no longer here, Cassie Laundrie actually did speak and give out a statement. She also said that to Good Morning America, that obviously me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She says she's like a sister and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this just be one big misunderstanding. I'll go into more details later on that one. I need to get closing right here because I've got a lot I need to get done. But one thing I noticed with Bryan Laundrie is when he was in front of the police, he went over and beyond to be respectful, obedient, and one who's going to show that he will follow directions. He appears incredibly respectful, nice, and polite. The witnesses that have actually saw him say that that's what he was like, except for one who says that he did start to act kind of weird when they arrived at Jackson Hole. And so manipulative people are like this. Their personalities, like Chris Watts, many of you have mentioned, he does compare to Chris Watts in many ways. He appears to be a really good guy. His face gives off this very calming, loving nature. But behind that is a darker entity. All right, guys, don't forget we have people missing these faces. They need you to share their story. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to those that have been helping me on Patreon. You bought me a mic. You just don't know it. And like I said, I'm going to make a video just for you guys soon. Love you guys. Everybody be safe. And I'll see you guys soon.